and welcome to this week's episode of Book Bestie. I am your host, Megan, and we are officially in 2024. So welcome to the very first episode of Book Bestie in 2024. I'm so excited. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope you had a great New Year's. I set my reading goal on Goodreads the other day. That is always like a scary task, and I'm not really sure why, but it's always a little daunting, but that's done. I'm excited. I've already read one book towards it, actually, so we're already on the up. I wanted to start at the very beginning of each episode to kind of do a little what I'm currently reading. I just thought it would be kind of fun and keep everyone up to date on where I'm at, what I'm currently reading, as I get into more of these book and series based podcast episodes. So the book I'm reading at the minute is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I'm reading it on my Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited. I think I'm only about 25 to 30% through the book, if I'm not mistaken, which I think it's like page 100. I did not realize this book was this long. It's a slow burn. It's like a slow burn. Childhood friends, that kind of vibe is what I'm getting so far. As I said, I'm only about 20, 25, 30-ish, somewhere in there percent through it. But I am liking it so far. A lot of people are saying that it is their favorite Lauren Asher book ever. But I feel like that's going to be a hard task for me because I love Terms and Conditions so unbelievably much from the Dreamland Billionaire series, the second book. But we'll see. I'll hold my judgment. Hopefully by next week I'll be finished it and I can give you guys like a little update on where it is in my ranking of Lauren Asher books. So as I mentioned in last week's episode that I wanted to start making more episodes based on certain books or certain series of books, whatever. I am starting off 2024 with an episode all about the Twisted series from Ana Huang. You are looking at a changed person. We are only 4 days into 2024 and I've already finished a series. I kind of want a medal for it. I told you last week, I was like, through 2024, I'm going to stop reading the first 2 books of a series and then just never going back. I'm going to start to finish them. I read Twisted Love last year in March and I didn't love it. I'll get more into that later. I didn't love it, so it wasn't exactly on the top of my TBR to finish the series. I'm honestly really happy that I did, and again, I'll talk all about that. Also, if you're watching visually, I'm sorry if the tripod's shaking. My feet are currently like on it, and I can't tell if as I'm talking. To be honest, they're kind of going numb, so I may have to put them down soon. So if the tripod moves, just pretend it's not, because comfort is key right now, so just bear with me. So as I mentioned, this series is by Ana Huang. It was published in 2021, the first 2 books, and the last 2 books were published in 2022. The entire 4 books follow a group of 4 girlfriends who all met in college, and each of them get their own book. Now, from the get-go, I just want to preface there will be spoilers for all the books throughout all the reviews, so just please keep that in mind. If you have not yet read the series, maybe go read it first if it's something you're interested in. If you don't have much interest in the series, don't worry about it. Continue watching. You'll find out the basic gist of everything that happens. So I just want to start by mentioning the 4 girls that we meet in college are Ava, Bridget, Jules, and Stella. Now, this is the oddest group of friends that I've ever seen in a book series. So we have Ava. She is the star of our first book, Twisted Love. And she is a wannabe photographer, okay? Pretty basic. Well, not basic. You get what I mean. Pretty just like baseline, whatever. Cool. Then we get to Bridget, who is the star of our second book, Twisted Games. I don't remember what she's studying because all I could focus on is that she is a soon-to-be queen of a small European island. Yeah. That's it. She is a soon-to-be queen of a small European island. Moving on, we go to Jules, who is the star of our third book, Twisted Hate, and she is a studying lawyer. That's what Jules does. Again, we're back to pretty baseline occupation. Makes sense. Twisted Lies, then we have Stella, and she is a social media influencer and kind of wannabe fashion designer. It's what she studied in college. So you get what I mean. Odd group of friends, okay? It's an interesting group of people. So, as I mentioned, the very first book in the series is called Twisted Love, and that is our main character is Ava and her love interest, Alex. Now, I read this book last March. I read it, I started on the 25th of March and finished it on the 29th. That book, there are some points that you genuinely, gun to my head, I cannot remember from that book. And there are points that, gun to my head, I would pay to forget from that book, okay? It was an odd one. To be honest, all the books followed this very similar recipe, almost, of it seeming quite normal, quite regular love story, romance book, your huge. And then just something absolutely out of left field happens and you are left sitting there awfully confused and kind of wondering what the hell just happened and how is it this group of 4 girls have attracted this into their lives. Okay, so we open the book with Ava. She lives with her brother Josh at the time, and Josh is going away, basically. I think he's a doctor, so he's going on some medical trip thing. Best way I could describe it. I'm so sorry. As I said, I read this book last March. Now, a lot has happened in Ava and Josh's childhood. They lost their mother. Their mother tried to kill Ava at some point. Whole thing. And Josh is very protective over Ava. Protective will probably be the word of this episode. Now, Alex and Josh have been friends for years, okay? So Josh goes to his friend Alex and goes, "Hey, can you babysit my grown-ass sister who is a college graduate? Thanks." And Alex goes, "Sure." Alex owns like a whole ass fucking company. Like, he's a billionaire, okay? And here he is, babysitting Ava. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like Alex, okay? But you gotta respect the commitment. When he tells Josh he is going to watch his sister, by God does he do it. He fucking tracks her. He puts up new security in the house. She can't breathe without Alex knowing about it. So, you gotta respect his commitment to the bit. At least he went full into it, So, as I said, Alex is not my favorite. He's a bit psychotic. I'm all for reading shit that if it happened in my actual life, I would have a breakdown, panic attack, and probably get a restraining order. But in a book, I'm like, cute. Twisted Love is not that book for me. A lot of people like it and a lot of people love Alex. Alex was borderline criminal. Actually, saying borderline when you know what happens in the book is like not. It's not. He's a criminal. But in terms of like his overprotectiveness is probably the nicest way to put it. Twisted Love got the lowest rating on Goodreads. It is an average rating of 3.73. It's also the shortest out of all of them. It's only 360 pages. I also want to give a general gist of, do I think this couple is still together? By God, I hope not, but I think so. I don't know. I feel like they broke up for a year in the book, and Ava traveled to London to try kind of get away from everything and start her photography career and whatnot. I think that was probably the best decision she could have made, but then he followed her and they got back together. So yeah, I don't know. They are definitely my least favorite couple out of all of them. I just feel like Alex is just too much. He sings. Like, there was a TikTok I saw the other day, and it was like a girl and her dad, and they were watching that scene in Barbie when they're all sitting around the fire pit and like playing the guitar, and he's laughing and he's like, "There's no way that fucking happens." And his daughter looks at him and goes, "It's happened twice to me." To Ava knows the vibe. It's happened once to her, and in a very public setting. to be honest, I blacked that part of the book out. I remember reading the book, finishing it, looking at reviews, and seeing everyone being like, I can't believe he sang to her. And I was like, did we read the same book? And then after going, oh my God, he did sing to her. Yeah, I'm back. I remember. So yeah, he's an interesting one, Alex is. I liked Ava. I kind of got a bit concerned when I read the general gist of the book, being that, you know, Josh asked Alex to kind of mind his sister. I thought that she was going to be that really sometimes annoying, that childish, naive, super innocent vibe, but it wasn't like that at all. Actually, Ava was very much so kind of against Alex watching her, and she kind of did a lot in her power to try to get away from him. Like, even there was one point in the book that all the girls kind of like made a fun bet with Ava, being like, hee, bet you can make him feel emotions, because like he doesn't convey emotions. Like, he is just like stone face, like robot vibes. And she tries and she fails because he is psychotic. He is. There's no way around it. He is. He's, even like when you're reading the later books, he softens a little bit, but he is still very much so Alex No Emotions Volkov. I think that was his second name. So yeah, that's Alex. Again, liked Ava. She was cool. I liked her a decent amount. She was a good friend, good sister. You know, she did her bit in the relationship. I actually forgot to mention why they broke up that time. I'm pretty sure from, again, March, when I read this book, I'm pretty sure from what I can remember, her dad tried to kill her and blame the mom. And Alex has this whole revenge plot. Sorry, it's all coming back to me in like flashbacks, and it's very scary. I think Alex had like a whole revenge plot thing going where he wanted to like kill his uncle. That could be very wrong. I'm really trying to remember this book. You'll notice that I don't remember Twisted Love and Twisted Games very much. I only read Twisted Hate and Twisted Love or Twisted Lies recently, so those two are a lot fresher up here. But yeah, Twisted Love is a bit murky. I remember he sings. That's, you know, that's ingrained in there. I wish it wasn't, but it is. Yeah, see, that's what I mean by also that, like, the books are like pretty normal and then just some whack ass shit happens. Like, that's the whack ass shit that I'm pretty sure, like, her dad tries to kill her and something happens with Alex's uncle. I think he tries to kill somebody and somebody does die and Ava gets kidnapped. And Bridget, I think. Oh my God, it's all like coming. It's genuinely like flashing into my brain. So yeah, my rating on that book was 3 stars. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. It was what it was. Like, I understood kind of like why a lot of people did love that book. It just personally wasn't for me. And it didn't, as I said, it didn't really prompt me to want to read the rest of them. So if you're interested in reading Twisted Love, the tropes in it are brother's best friend, forced proximity, and it's a whole grumpy sunshine kind of vibe. I do recommend the book. Like, I think it was kind of, if anything, I was sitting there going, what the fuck? And I kind of sometimes enjoy that, you know, like sometimes you need like a really unserious book. That was what Twisted Love was. And I really appreciated it for what it was, you know? I think definitely it's you don't go into it thinking the next greatest love story of our generation. You go into it going, Alex Volkov is batshit crazy, but it's entertaining. And I think that's the best way to go about it. So the next book in the series is Twisted Games, and that has our couple Bridget and Reese. Now, as I mentioned, Bridget, soon to be queen of a small European island. I don't remember the name of the island. I think it was Eldora. I could be very wrong though, so please don't quote me on it. But that's in my brain telling me I'm right. But again, I wouldn't trust that 100%. So just, you know, grain of salt. Do I believe that this couple is still together? 100%. They were adorable. I loved Reese and Bridget. He was her bodyguard. because she is the queen of a small European island. Or soon to be queen, sorry, my bad. This book was 456 pages and is actually the second highest rated on Goodreads with a 4.12 out of the series. I definitely agree. It is my second favorite of the entire series. I loved this book so much. I love the couples. The tropes are age gap, bodyguard, forced proximity, and it has obviously the whole royalty aspect. Now, what happens in this book? That is a great, fantastic question. I'm pretty sure whoever is currently in charge of the small European country is stepping down. They're peacing out. They're like, this has been fun and everything, but I'm done. And it was meant to be Bridget's brother that took over the crown. However, he fell in love with a regular old Joe down the road. And he's like, I'm also peacing out. I'm not taking the crown because I fell in love with a commoner. Or something like that, I'm pretty sure. Could you imagine if that's wrong and how passionate I was just there about like a commoner and it was wrong? I'm pretty sure it's right. Again, I need to start doing more research before I actually hit record, but sometimes I think it's actually more entertaining for me to not and just kind of try and guess my way through it. So that means that Bridget is now becoming the queen of a small European island. She's not ready. It's a whole princess protection program vibe where she's like training because she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. She's been off in America studying and, you know, doing whatnots. So now she's back. Now, again, I think the entire premise of the book is that the government are giving her a lot of shit. They don't think she's able for it. They want some other guy who I think is like a cousin of a cousin or something to step in. They're like, he's more qualified. But she's like, I'm higher in line. So it's all kind of about her proving herself as like, she's like, I can do this and it's going to be great. And then she falls in love with her bodyguard at the same time. Overall, I loved the premise of this book. I just thought it was like kind of cool. It wasn't something I'd read The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, I think. Who wrote that book? I could be mistaken, but that is like the only other bodyguard romance that I had read, and I really enjoyed that book. So knowing that what Twisted Games is about after I'd read the first book in the series, I was kind of like, oh shit, this one actually may be more my vibe. I really want to read this one. Reese is probably my favorite guy. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty confident in saying that Reese is my favorite guy. I thought he was the most respectful of Bridget. And he's like, it was actually his job to protect this woman. And he was the most respectful out of all the guys, which I feel like is saying a lot. The guys are all psychotic in this series. Like, let's just put that out there. Like, some of them less than others, but they still deserve that title. So he's the least, personally, I think. He's fairly chill. Maybe not the most, maybe the second most. I think Josh maybe takes that title of being the most chill. But anyway, Reese, my favorite. Again, read this book back in April, trying to remember key points. The thing that stands out to me the most is I'm pretty sure they have a sex tape. And Christian gets rid of it. Who is our guy from the fourth book. It's all connected. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like outside. And someone filmed it and was threatening to release it. Because technically now she was with a commoner or whatever. You know? I don't know. I don't remember. Overall, I thought the book, nothing too wild happened in this one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure the sex tape was as wild as it got, which was okay. Like, I'm not complaining. I didn't need, Bridget to be kidnapped. Well, she did get kidnapped in the first book, but in her own book, I didn't need that for her. And I didn't need, the world to be ending. It was pretty entertaining without it. I didn't need that whole big, I could be genuinely completely blanking on like a huge plot point. And people are going to be listening to this and going, do you not remember the bomb or something like that? And I'm just going to have absolutely no idea. But from my recollection, nothing too wild happens. It's probably the most normal romance of the entire series. And again, she's the queen of a small European island. So yeah, that was the most normal one. Moving on to Twisted Hate. This one has Josh and Jules. Josh is Ava's brother. He's a doctor. Has trust issues. I'm pretty sure that sums him up. I'm pretty sure that covers all bases. Now, him and Jules hate each other. And it's never really explained. Like, you get a small bit of how Jules mentions that while her and Ava were in college, they were roommates. And Jules had, like, kind of convinced Ava. Ava's always been the more tame one of all of them. And Jules has always been the wilder one. And she convinced Ava to do something that got her in trouble. And Josh, being the overprotective brother he is, goes to Ava and, like, requests on the roommate, you don't need her in your life. And Jules overhears this. So that's the reason that she hates Josh. But even, like, when she tells Josh that, because he doesn't remember that this happened, he's like, well, I just hated you because you hated me. And I feel like for the amount that they hated each other, it should have been a more significant reason. I don't know, just personally, that was kind of a little bit of a letdown for me anyway. I was kind of like, wait, are you kidding me? This, you never just sat down and talked about this? I feel like this could have been avoided. But it's fine. We got a book out of it. A 522-page book, might I add. Entirely too long. I read this book from the 27th of December to the 28th of December. Again, I got Kindle Unlimited. So a lot of the books I read at the minute are going to be Kindle Unlimited. Just putting that out there. Do I still think that they are together? No, not a hope. Not a goddamn hope. And you can't tell me otherwise. I don't care about the epilogues. There's not a hope that they're still together. And if they are, they shouldn't be. So this book got a 4.03 on Goodreads, making it the third ranked in the series. The tropes are best friends, brother, enemies to lover. I'm using air quotes. Enemies is a bit loose. They just hate each other for no reason. To lovers. That is what it should be called. I gave this book a 3.5. I didn't hate it. I like a bit of banter. I like when they're kind of poking fun at each other. I think it's entertaining. Again, I like when it's not done in such a way that the guy is just a blatant asshole. And I don't think Josh was until the end. So the odd event that occurs in Twisted Hate is that Jules comes from a dodgier background. Her dad died when she was younger, and her mom remarried a really rich guy, and he ended up like hating Jules and kicking her out. So then she kind of gets in with this wrong crowd. She steals, she lies, whole 9 yards, right? And then she gets into college and she just goes, yeah, that never happened. Changing my name, going to college, gonna be a lawyer. Now, Max, who is an ex of Jules in this situation, from these bad past that she had, comes back to her and is like, still have our sex tape. Which is wild that this is the second time in a series that this has been a blackmail tool. But anyway, I digress. And she doesn't want it out there because she's like, I'm about to take the bar. I don't want that out there. I'm not going to get jobs. So she goes, what do you want, Max? And he's like, I need a favor, right? She doesn't know what the favor is. She goes, sure, whatever. Just don't publish the tape. So anyway, all of a sudden, her and Josh are just like, don't hate each other anymore and like are in love. Just like that. I swear to you, it is that fast. We get like a little, maybe quarter of the book at the very start of them hating each other. Then it's over. Just like that. Years they have hated each other. And just like that, it's gone. Anyway, what Max wants from Jules is to go into Josh's apartment and rob a painting. Okay? That's it. That's all he wants. This painting is apparently priceless, which we find out later on. It is not. It's a dud. But anyway. Jules, this soon-to-be lawyer, about to take her bar, instead of just going to her now boyfriend and going, look, I'm in a sticky situation. I need your painting. Thanks, babe. Peace. She decides to go into Josh's apartment using a spare key that he told her where it is. Robs the painting. Robs money, an iPad, and something else, I think. And then dips. Gives everything to Max. Well, the painting to Max. She keeps the other shit. And then just goes home. And Josh calls and goes, oh my god, I've been robbed. And she's like, oh, what? That's it. That, like, why did that have to happen? You know? And then the thing is, right, is that, like, I can't defend Jules. Like, what the fuck was that? But then I also can't defend Josh, because he then does something so unbelievably fucked up. He has her over. She tells him everything that happened. She gives him back his iPad, his money, and is something else that I don't remember. I think it was a watch. I could have been wrong, but something else. And he goes, I forgive you. And then they have sex. And then at the end, he goes, lol, I lied. Get the fuck out of my house. I'm sorry, what? 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 What the fuck was that? Like, what? I'm sorry. Okay, I get what she did isn't great. Okay, it's not ideal. But that was unwarranted. That was like, he stepped over the line. Jules gets the painting back or whatever anyway. She gets Christian, who is the guy in our last book. He pops up in all of them. I love Christian, but we'll get to him. So yeah, she gets the painting back and like gives it back to him, and they're just like broken up and they're depressed, and then they're back together. Personally, if I was Jules, that would be that would not be me. I would be filing a restraining order. That is terrifying behavior. And something that I just can't even kind of go romance books, because that's fucked. Like, what he did was really messed up. But anyway, Josh is not my favorite. Josh is the most chill. I'll give him that. He's not as crazy psychotic as the rest of them are, but he's still not a good human. None of them are. I'm gonna be so fucking for real. None of them are, but romance books, you know? So then we move on to our last book in the series, Twisted Lies. So all of these books are interconnected standalones, meaning you can read them all separately without ever having to go in order or finish the series. Now, there are spoilers throughout, I think, anyway. Like, obviously, they're romance books. You probably can guess that they're all going to end up in their happily ever after. But, like, the couples from the previous book do usually star in the next book. They're there, okay? Twisted Lies, to me, was the only one that I felt didn't give that kind of explanation of everything. Like, usually when you get those kind of interconnected standalones, you get, oh, there's my brother, such and such a guy, and he's a da-da-da-da-da, and he's lived a hard life of da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever, right? And it's all just before he says, like, the word hello, okay? Twisted Lies just jumps straight into it. We were, like, off the bat. Stella was in this apartment that we learned about in Twisted Hate, that her and Jules had managed to kind of wrangle a better rent out of. We don't get any explanation of that in Twisted Lies. We're just straight into it. I didn't mind it, but it definitely means that you couldn't read Twisted Lies by itself. Like, there were definitely points where I feel like it wouldn't have made sense if I hadn't read all the books previous. So there's that information. I read this book from the 28th to the 30th of December. So it was actually the last book I read of 2023. Do I believe they're still together? Yes. Stella and Christian were cute. I loved Stella the most, I think, out of all the girls. And Christian was okay. What was Christian? Christian was, I didn't mind Christian. He was okay. He was alright. It is the highest rated out of the series on Goodreads. It is a 4.23 average rating, which again makes the most sense. It's my favorite out of all of them. It's sitting at 530 pages, making it the longest out of all of the series. And the tropes are billionaire, fake dating, and they are neighbors. I rated this book a 4.5. As I mentioned, favorite in the series. I don't know. I really just enjoyed Stella. Like, I thought her as a character, she was really good. Christian had that whole vibe of like, oh, I'm like damaged goods and she can never be near someone like me, you know, that kind of way. And it got a little annoying because like he was like, oh, she can never be around a devil like me. And you're kind of like, yeah, but what did you do? Like, I don't feel like we ever really figured out anything that Christian really did. I think he killed somebody, actually. Let me backtrack a little. I remember him killing someone in the book. But in terms, I was about to say, but in terms of things, is that so bad? Yes, Megan, that's bad. But in, like, romance book setting, when you're against, like, Alex Volkov, is it that bad? I don't think so. But anyway. Christian is a big billionaire security guy. He runs a big security company. Stella has a stalker. She needs 1 million followers because she wants to start doing better brand deals to basically kickstart her fashion career and pay for a woman in a care facility. What a wild sentence. She fake dates Christian. She gets more followers. She gets the brand deal she wanted. She starts her own fashion line. All while she has a stalker. She gets kidnapped in this book. Like, just straight up gets kidnapped by her stalker. And her stalker's like, let's be together. And she's like, no thanks. And he went, okay, then we both die. And then Christian shows up. But anyway. It was wild. The stalker, like, sends her letters. Like, Christian's meant to be, like, the best security guy in, like, the planet, right? Like, he's meant to be, like, top of the line. No one beats him. His apartment buildings are meant to be, like, Fort Knox, right? This stalker repeatedly gets the best of Christian. He breaks into Stella's house. Stella then moves in with Christian. He leaves shit in Christian's apartment, I'm pretty sure, at some point. Like, where was this confidence when all the shit was actually happening? How good of a security guy really are you, you know? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that was kind of the wild event that happened in that book. But I feel like it was the one that made kind of the most quote-unquote sense, I guess. Like, she was an influencer. She had a stalker. You know, it's awful and disgusting, but like shit like that could actually happen in like your day-to-day life. Well, not your day-to-day life. I hope not in your day-to-day life, you know, but in somebody's day-to-day life. You constantly hear about like celebrities having to get restraining orders and everything against these stalkers. So I guess like out of all the books, the wild event is like the most realistic and could happen. Stella and Christian were quite cute. He had like met her years before when some guy like tried to rob her and she just gave him the money because he needed it for food, and she dropped a ring and Christian kept the ring all this time. And that is actually why you find out that Jules and Stella got like lesser rent in this like insane apartment building. And then even when Jules moves out to go move in with Josh, Stella gets even less rent and just has to like water Christian's plants. It's because he's like obsessed with her because he knows her from the previous mentioned event, which is a bit weird. Actually, now that I'm kind of like thinking about it, that's a bit weird. Christian, like many of the other men in this series, are emotionally challenged. He refuses to believe in love. He doesn't think it exists. He's a cold-hearted killer. That's the vibe that all of them really give out, other than Josh. Josh is kind of lesser than the rest of the men, I feel. Like, Reese has killed people. I'm pretty sure Christian's killed people. Alex has killed people. And Josh is just, like, a doctor. So he, like, saves people, I guess. But yeah, it's an odd group of people, like, throughout. Like, Christian and Reese were close because Reese used to work for Christian in his security company, as Reese is a bodyguard. Josh and Alex are, like, childhood friends. Josh invited him to, like, all of his family's events. So yeah, they're all very interconnected, and they're very all an odd group of people. Overall, do I recommend the series? I think so. I think they're entertaining. Like, as I said, I really loved Twisted Games and Twisted Lies. They were easily my favorite. Twisted Love and Twisted Hate are a little bit on the weirder side, I feel like. But overall, I just think the series is really entertaining. And I just love Anna's writing. I genuinely, like, I just find that I read her books so quickly because I just don't want to put them down. Like, I mentioned that there's, like, a weird whack-ass event in all of the books. Like, fuck me, that's entertaining. Like, I'm not reading these romance books to get, like, a picture-perfect life. Like, I'm reading them because I'm like, holy shit, what the hell just happened? That's entertaining. I am very happy that I'm now finished the series. I feel like it's a nice tick off my list. I don't own the books physically, but I do want to get them because they're just really pretty covers, to be honest. But also, I feel like they are books that I did enjoy. They were entertaining, which is, books are meant to be fun, reading is meant to be fun, and that's what they were. I think as long as you don't go into any of them thinking that it's going to be some masterpiece of the English language, and you go in knowing that they're a little odd, they're a little weird, they're a little left field sometimes, I think you'll be fine. I think if you have that capacity to kind of enjoy an entertaining book without needing to have it all make perfect sense. It's a weird sentence, but I hope somebody understands what I mean. They're very easy books to get lost into. They were quick books, as I mentioned. I think the most was Twisted Lies with like 520 something pages. I didn't even really realize that. As I said, I read them all on my Kindle with Kindle Unlimited, so I didn't realize that it was that long. It didn't feel that long to me at all. I didn't think that it could have been less. Like, I think Twisted Hate probably didn't need to be as long as it was. That could have been around the 300 mark, like Twisted Love was. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it is a decent series. Like, it is what it is, and it's entertaining, and I think it's popular for a reason. I don't think it's unwarranted, the popularity of those books. I think people just enjoy sometimes a little bit something weird and fucked up. I ain't gonna judge. I'm not here to judge you. So that is the first episode where we've really focused on a book series, and I would love to know what you guys' thoughts are. I really want to do more of these, as I mentioned, because it just means that I can sort of pre-film them, and going into the last couple months of my last year of college, that is definitely going to be helpful for me. I definitely want to get into some books that I definitely enjoyed more. I would love to do one about Magnolia. Shock and horror. I'm currently wanting to reread that entire series, so I feel like that one's going to be really in depth, just because I love those books so much and I want to sing their praises per usual. If you guys have any series that you want me to talk about, if I've mentioned them before or not, if I've read them or not, I would love to read them and talk to you guys about them. I feel like that could be really cool. If you have any book recommendations for me, I would love to hear them. And as I mentioned last week, if you are also doing the 24 books in 2024, I would love to know about it. I think that'd be really cool if we did it all together. It could be really cute. So that is episode 6 of Book Bestie. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you rate the podcast, like on YouTube, subscribe. I am on TikTok at Megan_Jor and the same on Instagram. I think that's kind of all. I hope you guys had a really good New Year's, and I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Bye.